Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Luke of Luke's Vacuum Tube Electronics, and today we're going to be replacing a tube and then tuning this Porta-Color. So you may be wondering, what exactly is the Porta-Color? The Porta-Color is one of the first luggable vacuum tube TVs, color vacuum tube TVs that came out in about 1966, I think. Don't quote me on that. Generally considered an inferior color TV, both by modern standards and standards of when it came out. They have a tendency to overheat. When we take it apart, as I'm about to do right now, you'll see that the tubes are oftentimes difficult to reach, and of course the picture has no DC restoration, which means that when you look at the picture, depending on how bright or dull the image is, it also changes the contrast. One of the interesting things I think about the Porta-Color is that it was not only one of the last color TVs built, but it's also one of the more interesting color TVs just from the circuitry. And I'm not going to bore you with what the color oscillator is. As I continue to upload videos, I will put out interesting tidbits on just how vacuum tube electronics worked. But for the time being, I think that I'll just go ahead and take this guy apart so you can see the inside. Alright, we got all the screws removed. Let's go ahead and pop this bad boy open. There's supposed to be a clip on this that prevents me from taking it out without also removing the back, but of course that's gone given the old nature of these guys. Not always having all their parts, but take the back off and you can see the inside of the Porta-Color. Now, of course, what's really noticeable with these Porta-Color TVs, and one of the reasons why they're considered not good TVs even at the time they were produced, is because, well, the vacuum tubes are very hard to get to. There's this guy right here. The guy that we're going to replace is actually, you can see him down in there. But then there's also this guy over here who I'm not even going to try to touch, considering how buried it is. But you can see that all these vacuum tubes are very, very hard to get to. And what makes matters even worse is that this here picture tube, incredibly fragile. Maybe not fragile as far as general picture tubes go, but picture tubes generally are fragile. They risk imploding if you mess with them too vigorously. So you got to be real careful not to. So I'm just gonna reach down in here and pull out the tube that I believe is the bad tube. The particular tube I'm removing right now is a 6LT8. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. Alrighty guys, so we replaced the tube and put the TV back together. I figured it probably wasn't super important that I videotaped the whole spiel. Some of you guys maybe are also wondering, well, you replaced the tube in here, but this is an old TV, so surely there must be other things that are wrong with it. Which is true to an extent. When I first got this TV back in 2011, it did have a bunch of problems. However, I did end up replacing all the paper capacitors. Interesting fact, they tended to boil as a result of the high levels of heat in here. In the olden days, paper capacitors were made with well, paper and then wax. And so when you heat the wax up, well, heat it up enough, it actually starts to boil, and that's what happens. So, you know, like with any old electronics, always replace the paper capacitors. Never don't replace the paper capacitors. Electrolytics, generally speaking, if the TV or radio or whatever it is you're repairing, oscilloscope, was before 1970, you want to replace those. If it was after 1970, you might still be good. Definitely worth checking though. So in this case, I did check. The electrolytics are under last leg, but I left them in because they're still somewhat functional. So anyways, now that we have the new tube in place, we're going to go ahead and plug it into a retro converter box, and hopefully tune in a signal and tune the TV. Stolen internet signal cable. Well, I didn't steal it. I stole it from our internet, but whatever. Our converter box is in place and turned on. Now we just need to turn on the TV and hope nothing explodes. Ah! Always my favorite part, you know. The great thing about these TVs is how long they take to start up. Oh, we got something. Okay, guys, we got an image.
State of Washington school superintendents and state level October today required
We have color.
to be vaccinated against.
Well, I would say that's pretty close. Vacuum tube color TV. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the Porta-Color? Well, the picture kind of sucks if I'm being honest compared to the modern high definition television, but considering the era which it was made and also the fact that it is a vacuum tube electronic, I honestly like it. Probably one of my favorite TVs. Well, thanks for joining me today, folks. I hope you didn't think this video was too boring or too cringy. Certainly I'm going to upload more. Leave some comments about what you'd like to see maybe, how I could improve, just anything really. Make fun of me. That's always fun. Yeah, I will see you next time on Luke's Vacuum Tube Electronics.